My name is Gozi. I was once a wife, a happy one. My husband, Chaik, was a farmer, strong, kind, and full of dreams. We lived in a small village surrounded by green hills and red soil. Every morning, he went to the farm singing. Every evening, he came home smiling, his hands calloused, but his eyes full of life. But life, as we all know, doesn't always go as we plan. It was planting season. The air was thick with the promise of rain, and the sky was a brilliant, clear blue. Chaik went to the farm early with his friends, his laughter echoing through the morning mist. He kissed me goodbye and said, "Gozi, when I come back, we will eat yam and laugh." Those were his last words to me. By evening, the laughter had turned to shouts. The men from the farm came running, their faces pale with panic. They said, there was an accident, a tree had fallen on him. I ran barefoot over the sharp stones and thorny bushes, screaming his name into the wind. When I reached the farm and saw him lying there, so cold and still, something inside me shattered into a million pieces. The vibrant world around me faded to gray. It became utterly quiet. Even the birds seemed to stop singing. Chaik was gone. The next morning, the elders came for the burial. Their faces were somber, their words heavy. "Gozi, be strong," one of them said, placing a hand on my shoulder. "You are now a widow." That single word, widow, cut deeper than any knife. It felt like a brand, a label that stripped me of my identity, of the life I had known and loved. For days, I sat alone in our hut, draped in black cloth, a ghost in my own home. I refused food. I refused comfort. The world outside moved on, but mine had stopped. I could hear the whispers from the villagers. Some blamed me, their words like poison darts. Others pitied me, their sorrow a suffocating blanket. In my culture, a widow must endure rituals of grief. I had to shave my head, wear rags, and remain indoors for weeks, isolated from the community. At night, alone in the darkness, I would cry into my pillow, my voice raw as I asked the ancestors, why? Why did you take him and leave me here to suffer? One night, as I sat hunched by the dying embers of the fire, a soft wind rustled the thatched roof. It was a strange breeze, warm and gentle. Then, I heard a familiar voice, as clear as if he were standing right beside me. It was Chaik's voice, calm and full of the love I missed so desperately. He said, "Gozi, stop crying. I am not gone. I live in your heart." I spun around, my heart pounding in my chest, but no one was there. Just the faint, comforting smell of his favorite perfume hanging in the air. From that night on, something shifted within me. I stopped mourning in the way I had before. The crushing weight of sorrow began to lift, replaced by a quiet determination. I decided to honor him, not with tears, but with action. I started planting on his farm, our farm, the same way he used to. I learned to read the soil, to feel the rhythm of the seasons. I worked from sunrise to sunset, my hands blistering, my back aching. Some people laughed at me, a woman doing a man's work. They doubted me, but their laughter only fueled my resolve. Months passed. The seeds I had sown with tears and sweat began to sprout. The crops grew beautifully lush and green under the African sun. I harvested yams, cassava, and maize, and took them to the market to sell. Slowly, the whispers of pity and scorn turned into murmurs of respect. "Gozi is strong," they would say. "She did not let sorrow destroy her." One day, the chief of the village, a wise old man with eyes that had seen many seasons, came to my farm. He walked through the rows of healthy crops, a look of admiration on his face. "Your courage," he said, his voice firm, "is a lesson to every woman in this village." For the first time in what felt like an eternity, a genuine smile touched my lips. I felt Chaik's pride swelling in my heart. On the first anniversary of Chaik's death, I went to the river, the same river where we used to fetch water together, our laughter mingling with the sound of the flowing water. I brought a bouquet of wildflowers, his favorite. I stood by the bank and whispered to the gentle current, "Chaik, my love, I promise to keep living, to make you proud. And I will keep that promise always." As I spoke, a soft breeze blew across the water, caressing my face like a tender hand. For the first time since he left, I felt a profound sense of peace. I didn't feel alone anymore. Now, when I see other widows in the village, lost in their grief, I sit with them. I hold their hands and I tell them my story. I tell them, pain does not end your life. It is the beginning of your strength. Because I have learned that sometimes, love never truly leaves us, it only changes its form. It becomes the strength in our arms, the courage in our hearts, and the hope that lights our path forward. And even after death, the heart always, always remembers. This is my story, the story of a widow who found hope in her tears and strength in her loss. And through it all, I learned that love never truly dies. Thank you for listening to my story. If it touched your heart, please consider subscribing to our channel for more stories that celebrate the strength of the human spirit. Your support means the world to us.